Man, I'm so jealous of the OCG. They get to actually enjoy Darklords and do what the deck wants to do because, you know, we don't have Soul Charge, and it's a sad day. So what's up, guys? MK40 here. We scoured through more Twitter this week, kind of arrived at some interesting decks to profile, and I will say that I'm really missing some Darklord love because not having Soul Charge kind of sucks. So one thing I do want to point out, remember, they do have the Condemned Darklord. It's 2 fairy monsters, and then you contribute summon a fairy monster that requires 2 tributes or less by banishing 2 monsters from your graveyard instead of tributing. Of course, that will still treat it as a tribute summon, because why would we want to take that away from the archetype? And then you can discard 1 card to take 1 Darklord from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And then you only use the effect of Condemned Witch once per turn, and then once per turn during your end phase, you get to gain 500 life for each fairy monster on the field. Really cute that they built that in for end-of-match procedures for this deck, but that's pretty interesting. So let's kind of see what's going on with this deck. So we do play the 1 copy of Amduk. Remember, all copies of Darklords do have the effect of you can pay 1,000 life points, target a Darklord spell trap card in the graveyard, and apply that effect. But you get to discard this card, and 1 Darklord card, target a Darklord monster in your graveyard, and summon it. This is our general reviver for the deck. Then, of course, triple copies of Ixchel, the discard this card and a Darklord to draw 2, which is pretty good for the deck. Lord Nasty, just the standard, discard 2 other Darklord cards, special summon this card from your hand. Triple copies of Superbia. This is when she special summon, you get to special summon another one from your graveyard. She's our general extender, which is really good for this deck. 2 copies of Anukelbach. Normal or special, send 1 Darklord card from your deck to the graveyard. This is so good for this deck. Triple copies of Yield Darklord Zerato. If you control 4 or more monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can contribute to summon this card by tributing 1 dark monster. You can send 1 dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And then once returned during the end phase, this effect was activated. He detonates, but we don't care. Free board wipe. Triple copies of Vanity's Fiend, very staple for this deck. I mean, what decks can actually out a Vanity's Fiend with solid protection? I ask you. We have triple copies of Lord Darkness, triple copies of Banishment, standard searcher for the deck, triple copies of the Darklord Contract, our special summoner, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 1 Pot of Desires, and 1 Soul Charge, because we want as much card advantage as we can get. Triple copies of Trade-In, triple copies of Enchantment, which send a Darklord from our hand or face up in the field of the graveyard, take control of the opponent's monster until the end phase. This card is so good. Then we have 2 copies of Rebellion, send a Darklord monster from our hand or face up in the field of the graveyard to destroy 1 card. Yield Sacrifice, send a Darklord monster from your hand or face up to the graveyard to negate the effects of an effect monster on the field till the end of this turn. If you do, you have to gain life points equal to its attack. So that's pretty cute. Then, of course, the OCG still has Vanity's Emptiness. Must be nice, OCG. Alright, down here we have 1 copy of Lamada, 1 copy of Condemned Darklord, 1 Just Beat It, 1 Super Dreadnought Jiggly Ibly, 1 copy of Gustav Max, 1 number 90, 1 number 68. Actually, it's pretty cool to see if this card's seeing more play. 1 Hope Harbinger, 1 Zombie Stein, 1 Full Armor, 1 Cypher, 1 Cypher Blade, 1 Ding Ding, 1 copy of Magician, and 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Omega. Side deck here we'll have 1 Ash, 1 Dino Wrestler, 1 Gamma Seal, triple Maxi, triple Gamma, 1 Driver, triple Called by the Grave, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, and 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, wrapping this list up. But, you know, it's not always done here. You know, I do think Darklords could do something. Maybe, just maybe, someday here. I can keep hoping. Right, guys? Right? Alright, moving on along. We have more love for... the OCG needs to stop this shit right now. This is ridiculous. So, Crossout Destinator, back at it again. I really love how the OCG just loves this card. Like, this card has been doing so much work there. So, when your opponent maxes, you fire back with the Crossout Designator, and then, you know, your opponent fires back with their Crossout Designator, banishing their Crossout Designator, which then negates theirs, which makes certain the maxi then can resolve. That's why we're playing the 1 copy of the maxi. Strictly because, you know, if we see it opening hand, why not? This is so good. Like, thank you, power cards. So this is Japanese Orcust. Still standard, doing the standard things that we want to do. Smash 2 monsters together, start our combo. And of course the OCG does have the Apostala Bow of the Goddess, which is 2+ monsters with different names except for tokens. This card's original attack becomes equal to the number of materials used for its Link Summon. When your opponent activates a monster effect quick effect, you can make this card lose 800 attack, and if you do, negate that activation. It's literally Light and Darkness Dragon, which is pretty cute actually. So, we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 1 copy of Dr. Frankenderp. This card with Emergency Teleport's so good. Like, on special or normal, pay 500, look at the top of your deck, place it on either the top or the bottom, or reveal it and add it to your hand. Fucking absolute value. If you add the card, you skip your next draw phase, but we don't really give a fuck when we're building an unbreakable board. We have 1 copy of Jet Synchron, 1 copy of Max C, triple copies of O-Lion, 1 copy of Symbol Skeleton, 1 Harpor, and 2 copies of Orcust Nightmare. We have 1 copy of Psychic Wheelie, triple copies of Scrap Recycler. It's so good that this card just makes our deck viable. 1 Takum Borg and 1 Terror Top. Wow. 1 copy of Ancient Cloak, 1 Silent Boots, 1 copy of the World Child's Guard Dragon, and 1 copy of the World Wand. Spells, we have triple copies of Called by the Grave, triple copies of Crossout Designator, 2 copies of Emergency Teleport, 1 Foolish Barrel, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Orchestrated Babble, 1 Soul Charge, or 1 copy of World Legacy Succession. Traps, 1 Crescenado, 2 copies of Fogblade, 2 Red Reboot, and 1 copy of the Shade Brigadane. Pretty interesting there. Extra deck here we have 1 Rusty Tin Can, 1 Almirage, 1 copy of Longrisu, 1 Phoenix, 1 Mermaid, 2 Ripple copies of Galtea, 1 Needle Fiber, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Apostala, 2 copies of Dingrisu, 1 Ebb, and 1 Borrelode Savage Dragon. Side deck here, 2 copies of Lancia, 2 copies of Maxi, triple copies of Gamma, 1 Driver, 2 Mind Control, triple copies of Twin Twister, 1 Imperial Order, and 1 copy of Red Reboot. Wrapping this up. This is how deep the OCG is in their own format now. Literally, this is the most anti-fun competitive card I think I've ever seen, and it was so needed for the game. Like, I think that's probably the parts that's so disgusting. Literally, it turns off any of these cards, which, welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Last but not least, a little Shaddol deck kind of floating around that was playing 2 copies of the Witchcrafter, a Golem, on a Brew. So when your opponent activates a spell or effect that targets a spellcaster monster you control, or targets your spellcast monster for an attack while this card is in your hand, quick effect, target 1 card your opponent controls or 1 Witchcraft spell card in the graveyard. Smash summon this card, and if you do, return the target card to the hand. And then you can only use this effect of Golem Aurora once per turn. And once per turn, during your opponent's standby phase, return this card to your hand. So this card is pretty bonkers. 2,800 in built-in spellcaster protection. Fucking what more do you want in terms of value for this deck? So, we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Spring, triple copies of Denko Rekka, 2 copies of Prankitops, triple copies of Fairy Tale Luna. We always talk about Luna and how degenerate she is, but that bounceability factor is just so good. We have 1 copy of Snow, triple copies of Inspector Border, triple copies of Maxi, 1 copy of Shaddol Beast, 2 copies of Dragon, 2 copies of Falco, 2 copies of Hedgehog, and 2 copies of Squamata, along with 2 copies of Witchcrafter Golem, Ruru. And then spells here, we have triple copies of El Shaddol Fusion, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Scapegoat, triple copies of Shaddol Fusion, and 2 Super Poly built into the main deck here. And then traps, we have triple Crapdown and 1 copy of Shaddol Core. Actually, this card's pretty good in this deck, because you can just take whatever you want from your opponent, and then you're just able to fuse with it, which then makes life even better, right? Alright. Extra deck here, we have 1 Security Dragon, 2 copies of Link Kribo, 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Mud Dragon, triple copies of El Shaddol Window, 1 Shekanaga, 1 Grista, and triple copies of Construct. Also pretty interesting to see that Grista has now have to come back. So it must be first special summoned by Fusion Summon. During either player's turn, when an opponent would special summon a monster while you have a Shaddol card in your hand, you negate that summon if you do destroy that monster and send 1 Shaddol card from your hand to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard, of course you get to target a Shaddol spawn trap card in the graveyard and recur it back. So there's that. Then we have 2 Ghost Spell, 1 Ghost Ogre, 2 copies of Legacy of the Duelist. When your monster declares an attack, you can target 1 spell trap card your opponent controls, negate the attack, and if you do, destroy that card. During each player can only set 1 spell trap card from their hand per turn. Monsters cannot attack the turn that they were special summoned from the extra deck. During your draw phase, before you draw, you can give up your normal draw, and if you do, add 1 monster from your Graveyard your hand. Oh, this is literally just shit on Mystic Mine, the card. It's pretty interesting. We have 2 copies of Zombie World, 2 copies of Evenly Matched, 2 copies of Imperial Iron Wall, 2 copies of Infinite Impairment, 2 copies of Typhoon, wrapping up this OCG list. Interesting tech choice, actually. So guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the deck list this week. I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on these. And, well guys, looks like I'm out. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a Truffle Shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out VanCole40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.